Good evening. To my fellow residents of Newton, to those who work in Newton, to my colleagues who work for Newton in city government and the Newton Public Schools, to those who serve as elected officials in Congress, at the State House, and as part of our school committee and city council, to volunteers giving their time and talent to so many boards, commissions, and groups in Newton. As I come before you to address the state of our city, I am conscious that our civic body is still recovering from some bruising trials. The state of the world, the country, the Commonwealth, and our city show signs of stress. The challenges of our times are manifest. Illness, isolation, and loss of learning from the pandemic, financial insecurity, wars overseas unsettling us at home, expensive housing, disagreements over zoning and development, the lingering impacts of a teacher's strike, migrants searching for a better life, flooding and climate change, traffic congestion and long commutes, to name a few. These headwinds weigh heavily on all of us, fraying social bonds, eroding confidence in our democratic institutions, and fertilizing the dual maladies of anxiety and distrust. Yet, in spite of all these seemingly intractable issues, I can't think of a better place than here in Newton to wrestle with these challenges and together develop transformative solutions. I remain optimistic and full of energy to take on the work of local governance. This is difficult work. It challenges all of us to have empathy for those with whom we disagree and to build consensus as we chart the path forward. The duties of a city government are varied and complicated, and success is measured not by how well we do in just one or two areas, but rather in dozens. The rapid progress we yearn to make on one front is often tempered by the responsibilities we must meet on many others, as well as the stubborn truth that our resources are finite and our budget must balance. Within that field of responsibilities, I want to highlight three that demand special focus now, for they are core to what Newton is. And as we celebrate Newton's 150th birthday, and I look back at the news clippings from the 1870s, Newton has always prioritized educational excellence, forward-looking governance, and up-to-date infrastructure. First, educational excellence. To paraphrase Horace Mann, public education is the cornerstone of our community and indeed of our democracy. We have a visionary, energetic new superintendent focusing on high standards, high supports, and high respect. Superintendent Nolan brings a track record of using metrics, accountability, and communication to drive both decision-making and excellence in learning. We just signed a 4-year contract that improves education for our students, allows Superintendent Nolan to move forward with important initiatives, provides competitive pay and benefits, and yes, works within our financial framework. We have great teachers who are dedicated to this important work, and parents and caregivers who are highly engaged. In the aftermath of the strike, I've heard from so many a deep and heartfelt commitment to healing the many wounds it created and to doubling down on the work of making our schools everything our children need and deserve. 2 months from now, I'll be right back here, and I'll be proposing a city budget that, as always, increases the funding for our schools. This year, the increase will be another $14 million for a total budget for NPS of $282 million. As I announced in December, this is a 5% increase rather than the more typical 3.5% possible under Prop 2.5 because of a large property tax settlement with Eversource last summer. With this increase, our superintendent will be able to hire additional staff to improve curriculum and pedagogy and to address class sizes. Education is our top priority. We will need to keep investing in education, ensuring that the future of our public schools in Newton is bright. Second, forward-looking governance. Our values are intertwined in the actions we're taking in housing, support for small businesses and village centers, sustainability, and human services. As a result of recently updated village center zoning, affordable and market rate housing mixed in with retail and restaurants will be more possible. This zoning stems from a combination of hard work and compromise by city councilors, backed by a new state law. Thank you to the city councilors, current and past, and to the Director of Planning and Development, Barney Heath, and his talented team for helping people live better and businesses do better. We will be moving away from fossil fuels as these buildings are built and rebuilt, as we embed electrification this coming year in our ordinances with the leadership of Ann Berwick and Bill Ferguson, our co-directors of sustainability. We'll plant more trees and take better care of those we have. Thanks again to compromise by city councilors on an updated tree preservation ordinance in December, and the leadership of Mark Welch, Newton's city forester. Our lowest resourced families in Newton will have a more secure future as a result of the Newton Thrive program, and residents experiencing substance use disorders and mental health challenges will have access to more help. I want to thank in particular Linda Walsh, our Commissioner of Health and Human Services, Ruth Hashino, Director of School Health Services, and Megan Kennedy, Director of Social Services, for their work on behalf of residents of all ages. Thank you. In addition, we have talented department heads committed to the philosophy of continuous improvement. So the ongoing aspects of city government, providing public safety and customer service, inspecting and responding, plowing and sanding, will keep getting more effective and more efficient, more respectful and more inclusive. Third, up-to-date infrastructure. We have been making steady improvements to our infrastructure: roads, school and municipal buildings, parks and fields. If it feels like that progress is taking a long time, it's because of how deep a hole we started in. But our momentum is accelerating. I can tell you the next few years are going to be really exciting here in Newton, as the thousands of hours of planning and preparation by residents, counselors, school committee members, and staff bear fruit all across the city. Let me talk first about our buildings. We are in the midst of the busiest municipal building design and construction period since the baby boom in the 1950s. Thank you, Josh Morse, our Commissioner of Public Buildings, and your team. We have 4, yes, he deserves that. Thank you. We have 4 major school building projects, 2 entirely new elementary schools, Countryside and Franklin, a new home for another elementary school, Lincoln Elliott, in a substantially renovated building with an addition, and a much-needed further addition and renovation for the Horace Mann Elementary community. These new school facilities will be places that welcome, embrace, and inspire our children, and are designed to help our educators serve all types of learners. Each of these are also designed through the lens of energy efficiency and electrification. We're also surging our school maintenance projects, thank you to your vote last week, from roofs and boilers to bathrooms and parking lots. We're working on a large project at Jackson Homestead, an overhaul of our police facilities, the conversion of the library and fire station number 2 to fully electric heating and cooling systems, and another large phase of solar, which will generate more than 1.5 million kilowatt hours of electricity. Fun fact, with this additional solar, close to 40% of our total municipal electricity consumption will be offset by our solar arrays. Kudos go to our Parks, Recreation, and Culture Commissioner, Nicole Banks. With her team, she created an aggressive and comprehensive investment plan for our parks and recreational spaces. 2 new pools and our first major splash pad will be finished at Albemarle in time for this summer's swim season. Our sustained investments in better athletic fields across the city will continue, bolstered with lights and new turf fields at Newton North and Albemarle, following the replacement of 2 turf fields at Newton South and new lights for both of them. We are renovating tennis courts and playgrounds, planting a North Side community garden, and bringing 6 courts dedicated to pickleball to Albemarle. Yeah. And our roads. If there's one thing I've consistently heard from residents since before I was elected as an alderman, and on through my tenure as a city councilor and mayor, it's the frustration about the state of our roads. When I first became mayor, I gladly picked up the baton from Mayor Warren, who had inaugurated the Transportation Network Improvement Plan with, and remember this, with support by voters who said yes on additional funding for roads in an override. With that robust plan, we increased the Pavement Condition Index, or affectionately known as the PCI, a metric used to measure the condition of our roadways, from 62.5 when I first took office 6 years ago to 72 in the fall of 2022. We're more than halfway to our program goal of a PCI of 80 when we can shift from a catch-up to a maintenance mode. And we have Jim McGonigal and Shauna Sullivan, our Commissioner and Deputy Commissioner of Public Works, and their team to thank. In the last year, using ARPA and free cash, we've greatly accelerated our road paving with a special focus on neighborhood roads in the worst condition. Last year, we paved more than 50 of these, and a similar number are in the pipeline. That said, while anyone who drives through Newton knows that we still have a lot of work to do, please also know that our paving teams will be coming soon to a neighborhood near you. We are joining these paving improvements with complementary investments in making our roads safer. Traffic calming measures are being installed, bump outs, speed humps, flex posts, and more. Pedestrian signals with the snappy name of rectangular rapid flashing beacons are multiplying across the city, helping children and adults cross streets more safely. We're completing a roadmap for bicycle infrastructure. We'll soon be finalizing a new design for the Newton Highlands Village Center. We're rebuilding Petty Square in Upper Falls this year. And funding to construct an upgraded commuter rail station in Newtonville that will allow frequent service and easy access is a real possibility, and sooner than we had expected. With our continued advocacy, our other two stations will follow. Our superpower here in Newton is our people. Amazing people who are deeply engaged in making our future better. People who care passionately about the needs of our community, our youngsters and our elders, our body politic, and our centers for community building and learning. The vulnerable among us living on tight budgets and facing difficult life circumstances, and the interconnectivity of our neighbors across all 13 villages. Let me talk about one woman who embodied all that is good about our city and serves as a role model and inspiration as we rebuild, re-engage, and reconnect. This woman cared about everyone in our community. She was passionate about children and students. She served as a secretary at the Underwood Elementary School for 27 years. She tirelessly committed time and energy at the nonprofit Newton Community Service Center, now known as Family Access, helping to establish Head Start, daycare, teen programs, and health initiatives. She gave much of herself to the Newton Free Library as a volunteer and trustee. She used her voice and her many talents to advocate for our older residents, breathing life into our first ever Newton Senior Center at what had been the Newtonville Branch Library, soon the site of our new center, something I'm happy that she helped move forward until she passed at the age of 97. This woman was gentle and kind, and yet was one of the strongest and most determined people I'll ever know. She was a positive, infectious force. Some of you have figured this out. I'm talking about Audrey Cooper. And I'm so glad her daughter, Marion Pollock, and her husband, David, have joined us. And we are also joined by Mignon Murray, the director of our senior services. Tonight, I am blessed and I am honored to announce that the center that we've informally called the Newton Center for Active Living, or NewCal, will officially be the Cooper Center for Active Living here in the city of Newton. This building will be a forever reminder of how a person with a very big heart, a deep commitment to community, a readiness to collaborate, and a dedication to the joy of volunteering can make a permanent, positive difference. And I also just want to add, I'm really grateful to the leadership of Newton's Council on Aging for suggesting that I consider this name. Join us the week after next on Thursday, March 7th, when we'll be breaking ground officially at 10 a.m. on the Cooper Center in Newtonville. This will first and foremost be a place where older residents can explore their interests, share their insights, obtain critical services, and connect with others, as well as be a welcoming place for Newton residents of all ages, where we can learn, grow, and have some fun. Let me close by talking about the state of our city. I say with confidence tonight that the state of our city is strong, and our residents are resilient and engaged. We are committed to investing in our youth, our older adults, our neighborhoods, and our village centers. We believe in focusing simultaneously on today's needs and those of the generations that will follow. Well, we have different opinions, and boy, do we. We are all Newtonians, and we are all committed to this community. By working collectively and collaboratively, we can address the issues that divide us with solutions that unite us. President Laredo, Vice President Kalis, President Emeritus Baker, and city councilors, thank you for the opportunity and the honor of speaking tonight. To the residents of Newton, thank you for caring and for recommitting to our common good in these challenging times. Let us be led by the example of Audrey Cooper as we resolve to strengthen our civic body with stronger bonds. I know we can, and together we will. Thank you and good night. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.